So this is Exodus 40, and I am June, who is presenting this. So I chose to subtitle this chapter Tent to Tabernacle. This is because the entire chapter basically revolves around Moses setting up the tabernacle with the goods he had brought from Egypt, so the Israelites could have a place to worship God, and God would have a place of worship to him, and anointing the priests for many generations to come, so that they had traditions. So basically the summary is, God tells Moses to set up the tabernacle with very specific instructions on a particular date, which would be the first day of the first month, January 1st. So Aaron and his sons are anointed as priests. Uh, God, God said they would to anoint them. The tabernacle is set up. So God's presence then comes down in the form of a cloud. So whenever the cloud is present, the Israelites don't travel, but when the cloud leaves up into the sky, they follow the cloud, going along their travels, trusting God to guide them. So basically, whenever the cloud stays down, they wait until it lifts to start traveling. So the major words in this chapter are tabernacle, which is said 18 times, Lord, which is said 15 times, and particularly the phrase as the Lord commanded him, which is said 8 times. Now, I think this phrase is particularly fun because it's a lot of instruction and telling Moses what to do and how to set things up. So some of my questions are, why are the instructions for the setup so specific? God wanted to make use of all the it obtained from Egypt, would be my answer. And he wanted to make use of everything they had brought from Egypt and from Pharaoh and all that, all the loot. And spiritual matters usually are this delicate and usually require this amount of precision. So my question, it is said that the Israelites also traveled by night and not just by day. So my question was, how did they travel like this? Well, God took the form of a cloud, so he could use the cloud to guide them, and he apparently he provided some kind of light when he traveled. They traveled. I think it says that somewhere. I just can't remember where. So a couple of facts from the Matthew Henry Bible. There's a good parallel with Genesis, where God put man in possession of the earth when he finished creating it. So God basically comes and takes possession of the tabernacle when Moses creates it, it's a nice parallel with creation and the tabernacle. So the cloud that guides the Israelites, that's God's presence, is the same cloud that led them out of Egypt away from Pharaoh. It's the one with the pillar of fire, I think. It's also a symbol of God's presence. It's always there. The Israelites can't say, "Oh, God has abandoned us," because it's there and they can see it, and it's God telling them, "I'm here." So a few facts from the Net Bible. Starting from Exodus 39:32, these passages could be three parts of a whole. The first part is the Israelites preparing to build the tabernacle by giving Moses what they had from Egypt and just giving him so he could build the tabernacle. Part two is Moses actually setting up the tabernacle and making sure everything's good and the priests are anointed. And the last verses are the Israelites getting into the worship, trusting God to guide them, and just generally worshiping God and all that. In Exodus 40:12, when God says, "Bring Aaron to me," the actual Hebrew verb there means to present. So it's more like presenting a gift, presenting someone to someone, like making a good impression is what I think it means in that case. Like be formal, make a good impression, have God. Sure. Yeah. So what this shows about God and people. For God, this passage shows that He wants people to worship Him. He wants them to have a special place of worship just for Him, and it also shows that He wants them to have a constant reminder that He's there and He will guide them, and that there is some sort of interaction that they can trust Him and that they can see Him and worship. So this passage also shows that people are not holy, and only the high priest, even all high priests are allowed to go into the innermost chamber with God's presence. Like, not even Moses was allowed to go in because he wasn't the high priest. And these are my credits for the slides. Thank you.